Hello, my name is Valentine, and I'm here to teach you about Microsoft AppLocker. This demo will teach you the basics of creating certificate rules for application whitelisting. To do so, I will show you the following steps. I will create a rule set that allows everyone to run any executable or installer signed by Microsoft, except for Internet Explorer. I will then launch Internet Explorer to show the system blocking execution of that application. From there, I will try to install Google Chrome, which will fail, and so I will then create a rule set that allows everyone to run Google-signed executables and installers. Once I've done all that, I will demonstrate the use of AppLocker logs to make implementation of this technology easier and more transparent. So let's get started. Here you can see I've already got Windows 10 set up. AppLocker has been configured for enforcement mode. And so this is the base in which we're starting with. Now that we have AppLocker set up, we are going to create our first rule. We are in the group policy editor of the local computer, but if you're on Active Directory, it's group policy editor and create your policies as needed. So we are going to right click here in this white space and we are going to create a new rule. And we're going to click next through this dialog box and we're going to skip it by default next time. We're going to create a rule here to allow everyone. The permissions allow you to create rules for everyone for specific user groups or even specific users. And so if you're building endpoint rules and you want to prevent anyone in the users group to not play solitaire, you can do a deny users and deny solitaire. In this case, however, we're going to allow everyone, since that's what this demo is about. So we're going to go ahead and select publisher. Path and file hash are just not as effective for creating rules, and so we're just going to go with publisher since it's typically the most sustainable way of creating rules. Here we're going to be browsing for a reference file to build our rules off of. And so in this case, you can pretty much pick any Microsoft executable. Just about all of them are signed these days. For this demonstration, I'm just going to randomly select an executable. And you can see here all of the details: file version, file name, the product name, and the publisher. So we're going to go ahead and move this slider bar up to publisher because we're going to allow all Microsoft executables. And we're going to click next. So here we're going to create an exception where we are going to exclude Internet Explorer from this rule set. We don't want our users to launch classic Internet Explorer since it's terrible. And so I've selected it. Here's all the details. We're going to go ahead and click OK. And now we have an exception for Internet Explorer, and we're going to go ahead and click Next. And that's it. We're going to just leave the defaults here, and we're going to click Create. So the first time you create an AppLocker rule, it's going to ask you if you want to use defaults. You're going to say no. Just don't do defaults. And there you go. So you have your first rule. We're in enforce mode. So let's get started. So we're going to go ahead and try to launch a Microsoft application. Let's go with MS Paint. And it works. So you can say so we're not going to go ahead and save that. And so now MS Paint works, so let's try Internet Explorer. And it's been blocked. And so this is AppLocker at its core. All Windows executables will work, but the specific one we don't want running has been denied. So now we're going to go ahead and see if we can install Google Chrome. It will hopefully not work. Once again, it's been blocked by the administrator. So let's go ahead and build a new rule. And now we're going to allow everyone. Oops. We're going to allow everyone to run a publisher rule. And we're going to go ahead and browse to the Chrome setup executable. And we're going to select all Google products. In general, when building these rules, it's best to just do it on the top level certificate rather than the product name, since the product name differs pretty significantly. So like we selected the Chrome setup executable, and the product name is Google Update. This rule would not let you launch Chrome, so we're just going to make a blanket rule with this certificate. So you're going to go ahead and click Next. You're going to go ahead and click Next and create. And then we're also going to create a Windows installer rule. So we're going to go ahead and click Allow Everyone, Publisher. We're going to go ahead and click Browse. And we're going to select this. And once again, we're going to just allow all Google. Click Next. We're going to create. We once again do not want to use the default rules. Now, as you can see right now, we've got allow Google certificates, but we wouldn't allow Microsoft installers with this rule set. So let's go ahead and add Microsoft, and so that we don't break, say, Windows Update. To do that, we would either need to find a Microsoft installer, which there are, as far as I can tell, there are no MSI files on Windows 10 default install. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of trick AppLocker, so to speak. So we're going to go ahead and copy the publisher string out of the executable rule set we created earlier. We're going to go ahead and create a new rule. We're going to select publisher, and we're going to go back, select Google Update MSI, and we're going to go ahead and use custom, because right now we can't paste here, can't edit that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click Use Custom Values, and we're just going to replace each one of these with stars. And we're going to go ahead and paste that. Click Next, and create. So now you have a window installer rule set that allows both Google and Microsoft installers to run. So this should allow Google Chrome to update itself. It will also allow Windows Update to run. And so let's go ahead and install Chrome. Hey, now UAC works. And there you have it. Chrome is happily downloading itself onto the computer now, and it will run. So like I said, this has been a Microsoft AppLocker demo. This is to show you how quickly and easily you can start building rules. And so we have now created the rule set to allow the executables. I've shown it block Internet Explorer since it was an exception. I showed it block Google Chrome. And then I just showed you how to create a rule set to allow Chrome to install. So lastly, let's look at the logs. Let's see what sort of logs that created. So let's go into Event Viewer. We're going to go into Windows Logs, or I apologize, Application Logs, Microsoft, Windows, AppLocker. And here you have it. This is showing every application that was allowed to run. And here you can see the errors. So this was me trying to run Google Chrome. There was me trying to run Internet Explorer. And that's it. So when you're creating new rule sets, you can use the logs to show you what was allowed. So if you create a publisher rule and whatever application you thought you whitelisted continues to break, go into the log, see perhaps the application is calling another executable that maybe isn't signed, or perhaps is signed with a different certificate. And so there you go. That's it. That's Microsoft AppLocker in a nutshell. Thank you for joining me.